Welcome to the deep dive. If you need a comprehensive shortcut to understanding what's moving your community, from infrastructure spending to critical health warnings and people making a difference, you are definitely in the right place.
Absolutely. We've waded through a pretty huge stack of source material here. Think detailed city council notes, specialized consumer alerts, some really inspiring personal profiles.
And we've distilled it all down to the essential knowledge you need right now.
Yeah, and this stack, it represents a highly practical cross-section of life, really. Civic, financial, personal, our sources show not just what's happening, but kind of why certain things are being prioritized.
Like a roadmap, maybe, showing where public dollars are going, what investments you need to protect.
Exactly, and where the next generation of leadership is popping up.
So our mission today is pretty broad. We're unpacking developments from, get this, an 8-hour city council meeting. Everything about the Mansfield 2040 vision, infrastructure bonds.
And we're setting that against really vital health guidance, especially regarding dense breast tissue, and some crucial advice about home inspections. You really need to hear that part.
Oh, definitely. And we'll cap it off by profiling two pretty ambitious local leaders and, yes, we promised, the exact recipe for a, surprisingly complex peanut butter bourbon cocktail.
We're covering a lot, from the nuances of Tarrant Appraisal District nominations to the specific test that could save a home buyer tens, maybe even hundreds of thousands of dollars. Let's start with the stuff you can see, right? The visible evidence of city planning.
Okay, yeah, let's unpack the visual updates first. Aesthetically, there's a fantastic new mural, Together as One. You can find it at the Palm Branch Trail, right there at Elm and Smith Streets.
Oh, I heard about that.
Yeah, it's described as giving a nod to the past, a wave to the present, and a good look at the future. Which is a nice sentiment for public art,
It really is. And that aesthetic touch is balanced by some serious physical investment. The City Council just approved a pretty hefty contract, $530,000 for engineering and landscaping work.
And that's for Phase 4 of the Walnut Creek Linear Trail system, right?
Exactly.
And this is important context, and this isn't like brand new spending that just appeared. This specific project, voters approved it via bond issue years ago.
Right. So the council's basically executing the public's directive now, turning those promises into, actual trails.
Okay, making good on old votes.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And that execution, it ties directly into this bigger Mansfield 2040 vision they keep talking about. The council held a key joint work session with planning and zoning P&Z just to check their progress on this big land use plan.
So they're actively grading themselves against their own long-term strategy.
Yeah, they are. They also discuss something called, let me get this right, Urban 3 Fiscal Sustainability and Lean Development Improvements.
Okay, that sounds like pure city planning jargon. What does that actually mean for someone living here?
Well, what's fascinating is the idea behind it.
Yeah.
It means they're using some pretty sophisticated data modeling to figure out which kinds of development, houses versus shops versus mixed use, actually provide the best tax revenue compared to how much road or pipe they need.
So instead of just letting sprawl happen.
Exactly. They're actively chasing lean development. It's about being fiscally smart about how the city grows, making sure new areas like that one approved at North Holland and East Broad with the bank actually pay their own way long term.
Okay, so it's trying to prevent growth from becoming a financial drain later on. Makes sense. But shifting gears to the, let's say, behind-the-scenes governance, that appraisal district issue seemed like a major point discussion or non-discussion.
Yeah, it's a critical accountability piece. The City Council specifically chose to take no action on nominations for the Tarrant Appraisal District, TAD. And this matters a lot because TAD sets property values not just for Tarrant, but also for Johnson and Ellis counties. It directly impacts your property tax bill.
So why hit pause? Why not just get new people in there?
Well, because state law says property appraisals have to be done annually, every year. And currently, TAD is not meeting that requirement. So that creates huge issues with fairness and equity in the tax system. By delaying their vote, the council is basically sending a strong signal. They're saying they need people on that board who are genuinely committed to following the law and, frankly, restoring some trust in how appraisals are done.
So they're holding out for better candidates, essentially.
You could say that. They indicated they'll cast their votes later in the year, presumably when they feel they have nominees who fit the bill.
Okay, a necessary delay to get the foundation right, sounds like. Sticking with the community view for a second, let's shift from fiscal health to maybe cultural vitality.
Absolutely. There's a big push right now to create an official cultural district around historic downtown Mansfield. This isn't just a local nickname. It's a formal designation from Texas Commission on the Arts.
And what does getting that designation actually do for the community?
Well, it acts as a catalyst, really, for economic development, for community life. It's official recognition that the area is using its cultural assets, things like public art, events like Music Alley, to draw people in, attract businesses. It formalizes the town's commitment to the arts.
Interesting. So it kind of elevates the whole downtown art scene.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Okay, that sets a nice stage for future growth.
Yeah.
Now, let's pivot hard. We need to talk about some essential need-to-know stuff for your personal safety and your wallet. This next bit is really critical consumer knowledge.
Yeah, this is a serious heads up for anyone thinking about buying a home, especially an older one. Pay attention here.
The core advice, and honestly, we can't stress this enough, is that your standard home inspector, they're usually not a licensed pro in specialized trades like electrical or plumbing.
That's right. And just relying on their general report can leave you facing absolutely ruinous costs later.
So first priority, hire a licensed electrician.
Yes. You need them to go deep.
Yeah.
Check the main panel, the breaker box, surge protection, those GFI safety outlets. Think of the electrical system like the house's heart and brain. If it fails, everything goes sideways.
And the plumbing advice. This seems even more urgent, financially speaking, specifically for houses built before 1985 that have cast iron pipes.
Oh, yeah. If you're looking at one of those, you must get a hydrostatic test, period.
Why is that specific test so vital? What's the risk?
We're talking potential repair bills starting around $15,000, easily climbing past $30,000. See, with old cast iron pipe, the standard camera inspection often misses hairline cracks because, well, the pipe is black and the crack is black. There's no contrast.
Okay.
A hydrostatic test actually pressurizes the system with water to see if it holds. It reveals leaks the camera just can't see. Skipping this test. It's like playing financial roulette with your biggest investment.
But I've heard some sellers push back, right? They claim the test itself can damage the pipes. Is there any truth to that?
That is almost always a false claim. It's usually an excuse to avoid uncovering existing problems they might already know about. The advice from the source material is crystal clear. If a seller refuses to allow a hydrostatic test, pass on that house. Seriously, just walk away. The risk is way too high. You need licensed pros for these critical systems. End of story.
Wow, that's incredibly direct, practical advice. Okay, let's shift focus now from protecting your assets to protecting your health. Specifically, the power of early detection in breast cancer.
Right. Our sources really emphasize breast cancer awareness and just how critical regular screening is, specifically using 3D mammography. This tech is much better at catching cancer early, often way before you feel any symptoms.
They used a really striking analogy for women with dense breast tissue. Since dense tissue can look white on an X-ray, just like a tumor can, finding cancer was described as like trying to find a snowball in a snowstorm.
Exactly. And that's a real challenge. Dense tissue makes standard mammograms harder to read accurately.
So how does screening overcome that?
Well, that's where more advanced tools come in. For women who are considered high risk, or who know they have dense breasts, a breast MRI might be recommended. It's an important extra step.
How does the MRI help?
It uses powerful magnetic imaging, not X-rays. It gives doctors a completely different, much more detailed picture. It dramatically improves the chances of spotting those cancers that might be hiding in the snowstorm, so to speak. The core message is simple. Early detection saves lives. And sometimes that means using the best available tools for your specific situation.
Diligence seems to be the theme here for home buying, for health. Let's carry that idea of focused effort into our next section. Two really compelling profiles of personal achievement. Let's start with Lake Ridge senior Ella Beason. She's headed to the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade.
Yeah, this is a fantastic story. Ella was chosen as a drum major for the Great American Marching Band. Get this, she apparently applied kind of on a whim after going to this intensive drum major camp.
A camp focused on conducting and leadership skills.
Right. And she was picked from applicants all across the country. Pretty impressive.
We all see the drum major conducting, keeping time. But what did she say was the real core of the job?
She really stressed that while the audience sees the waving arms, most of the work is the intense stuff off the field. Leading, organizing, handling logistics, motivating, the whole band.
So servant leadership, basically.
Exactly. And here's a cool fact. She actually plays the bassoon, which is a double reed instrument you definitely cannot march with outside. But apparently, she'd already proved people wrong by marching tenor and baritone saxophone earlier, so she's got grit. And to top it off, she's the only drum major from Texas chosen for the parade this year.
Wow. That kind of determination, that connects really well to our next profile, Alina Fernandez. She's an attorney named 40 under 40 in both Mansfield and Arlington. Her specialty is something called government receivables.
Right, Elena. She's a really influential figure helping cities and school districts across Texas generate revenue. Government receivables, in plain English, means she helps them collect money they're owed.
Like outstanding fines, fees, taxes, that kind of thing.
Exactly. She basically helps optimize the city's bottom line, making sure they have the funds for services, like those trails and things we talked about earlier.
She describes herself, I love this, as a pit bull with a smile. What do you think that means in practice?
Well, she explained it as being firm, professional, tough when needed in court, but also being deliberately approachable, always smiling, trying to break that stereotype of the super aggressive, unapproachable lawyer.
So it's a strategic choice, building trust while still projecting authority.
Seems like it. It's about being effective and relatable.
Connecting this back to personal growth again, what did she say was her biggest life accomplishment? Not a case, but life.
It was deciding to leave home, leave her family anchors in L.A. when she was just 18. She went to college in New York, then transferred back to USC, and finally ended up settling here in Texas back in 2008.
Interesting. Why that move?
She credits that big step outside her comfort zone, moving away from everyone she knew, as the single most important factor in her success. It forced her to become independent, build her own network from scratch.
That makes a lot of sense. Pushing boundaries forces growth. What about the biggest business lesson she learned?
That one was about not taking business decisions personally. She said, especially in the high-stakes world of law and government, like 95% of the time, if something goes wrong or a decision doesn't go your way, it's not you, it's the situation and the response to the situation.
That's really crucial advice for handling setbacks in any career, isn't it? Maintaining perspective.
Absolutely. Keep your ego out of it.
Okay, we've covered city plans, crucial investments, health warnings, personal ambition. Let's wrap things up with some community fun and quick hits. If you're looking for something to do, Haunt the Block is happening downtown this Thursday evening, 5 to 8 p.m.
Yeah, they're expecting a huge crowd for that, like maybe 5,000 or 6,000 people, lots of trick-or-treating, games, music, and they have that haunted inflatable corn maze again.
Oh, and the sources mentioned the debut of the first ever Mansfield mascot race. That could be interesting to watch.
Definitely potential for entertainment there.
And for sports fans, quick MISD football update from Week 7. Mostly good news. Legacy, Mansfield, and Summit all got wins.
Nice.
The one tough one was Lake Ridge. They lost big to North Crowley, 62-17, even though they had a quick 10-0 lead early on. Ouch.
Yeah, tough turnaround. Looking statewide at high school football, some crazy scores this week. One game ended 91-8.
91, wow.
But then on the flip side, a real defensive battle ended 13-0. And the biggest shutout. One team won 77-0. A total goose egg, as they called it.
Okay, quick soccer note. North Texas SC, they clinched their second straight MLS Next Pro playoff spot, finished 6th in the West, 11-11-6 record.
Good for them. Who do they play?
They're up against the Town FC in the Western Conference quarterfinal.
All right. And finally, a couple of useful, maybe fun facts for you. Friday, October 17th, it's National Payback a Friend Day.
Huh. Perfect excuse to finally pay back that $20, or maybe just buy him a coffee.
Exactly. Or you can make them this week's adult treat. Let's get the details on that peanut butter bourbon cocktail.
Okay, hit us with the recipe.
All right, this one sounds pretty interesting. It's part of a trick-or-treat for adults series. You need 2 ounces of bourbon, half an ounce of peanut butter simple syrup.
Peanut butter simple syrup. How do you make that?
Okay, yeah, that's the key part. You take 2 tablespoons of creamy peanut butter, 2 tablespoons of sugar, and 4 tablespoons of hot water. Whisk it all together until it's perfectly smooth. And crucial step, strain it before you use it. Get any little bits out.
Got it. What else?
2 dashes of chocolate bitters and 1 dash of regular Angostura bitters.
Okay. Shaken or stirred?
Definitely stirred.
Yep.
Stir it with ice for a good 30 seconds to get it properly chilled and diluted. This isn't just some weird gimmick, by the way.
Oh.
No, distillers know that nutty flavors, peanut, pecan, walnut, they naturally complement the vanilla and caramel notes you get in aged whiskeys like bourbon. So when you balance it right, it should be smooth, rich, surprisingly sophisticated.
Huh. Okay, I might have to try that one. So, from linear trails and complex TAD votes to understanding hydrostatic tests and celebrating Ella Beason's leadership, We've really covered a huge spectrum of local knowledge today.
We really have.
Yeah.
And, I think Elena Fernandez's big life lesson about stepping outside your comfort zone, being the real accomplishment, it kind of ties it all together, doesn't it?
How so?
Well, that initial struggle when she moved away, it forced her to grow, adapt, learn quickly. It built resilience.
Yeah, the kind of resilience you need to tackle complex stuff, whether it's understanding, Urban 3 fiscal models or why you need a specific plumbing test, and then actually do something with that knowledge.
Exactly. And the advice she'd give her younger self, I think that's the perfect closing thought for you listening right now as you process all this information. She said something like, you won't win everything. You won't pass every test. You're going to fail sometimes. But don't be afraid to get back up and keep moving forward. Because the real value of any deep dive like this isn't just collecting facts. It's having the courage to use them, knowing that, yeah, you might stumble, but those setbacks are just part of learning and growing.
So maybe the final question for you is, what past failure or maybe what complex subject you shied away from are you ready to get back up from and try again, maybe with some of this new insight?